Welcome to Envisioning Success, the weekly podcast that's your prescription for business clarity. In today's episode, we discuss the practical aspects of brand identity. What elements do you retain, revamp, or create? Laura and Julia share insights on creating a comprehensive list of your brand elements, from logo to messaging, and the importance of narrative consistency. Tune in for actionable advice on modernizing your brand.
Hey everybody, I'm Laura DiBenedetto, and I'm super excited to welcome you back to the show. This month, we're talking about branding, and last episode was a good one. We talked about what branding is and what it is not. Spoiler alert, if you haven't listened to it, it's more than just your logo, so you should probably go listen to the episode. It's a humdinger. Also, Julia and I got a case of the giggles and the abadabbas, so it was definitely one of those ones where we were feeling punchy. And we batch record these and we're still feeling punchy. So let's see how this one goes. Should be good. So this is the lovely and talented Julia Becker Collins. She's my work wife, business partner, and say hello.
Hello.
This show is sponsored by Vision Advertising. You can check us out online at vision-advertising.com. We are marketing experts. We help with things like brand, which is why we're talking about it. And why we're qualified to talk about it. We are actually celebrating our 25th anniversary, and we would love for you to be a part of that. We would love to be a part of your success story. So if this is something that we can help you with, please reach out. We always offer complimentary brand evaluations and
there you go.
Marketing evaluations. Hey, I had to make the obvious tie-in and the plug. There's the plug. Done it.
No, but brand. Exactly.
Welcome to my rap show. Don't buy the album. It's awful.
Bad.
All right. So today is all about modernizing brand identity, balancing past and future. So just a very, very, very quick 1-minute synopsis. What is brand and what is not brand? Julia.
Oh, are you saying I'm long-winded? Is that what you're saying? I feel attacked.
I'm implying.
Hey. Also, if you hear my dog barking, sorry, not sorry. So brand is your guiding North Star, as we discussed last episode. And it is not your logo. It is more than your logo. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. It's what you want people to be saying about you when you're not in the room. It's what you do. It's also what you don't do, because not everyone does everything. It's who you serve and who you don't serve. And it's an incredibly useful tool for making large and small business decisions.
And very quickly, why do we care about brands?
Well, it's my job, but also, we care about brand, capital B brand, because as a marketing agency, or you, the person listening, as a business leader, it helps, like I said, it helps you make decisions, and it also helps you make more money. We're all here to make more money. As I always say to people, don't feel bad about it. By understanding what your brand is and who you serve and who you don't serve and what you do and what you don't do, you're able to do a better deep dive on your public representation and thus attract more interest in your product or service.
You'll get more clients easier without the struggle. You'll get more of the right clients who will pay whatever fees you want, and wait for it, you're going to have fun. What? I like fun. Fun is
crazy
good.
Talk. You're crazy.
I know. Side note, my friend Carol, and she's hilarious. She's got like this great dry sense of humor. I remember saying to her one time, I was like, Carolyn, let's go out. Let's go do this thing. It'll be fun. And she comes back with this wrinkly face. And she's like, I hate fun. I was like, what? So now when I hear anybody talking about fun, Carolyn is in my mind. Hi, Carolyn. I hate fun.
That's actually very funny.
Fun is the worst. Okay. So Today's topic is modernizing the brand identity, balancing the past and the future, which means that once you've evaluated the current state, the next step is figuring out the aspects of the brand that need updating and also which ones need keeping or perhaps the ones that need creating.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, Julia, my question to you is, what are the elements, how do you decide which elements of your brand you retain or add or revamp, or how do you make those decisions?
Yeah. Last episode, we discussed having external feedback on your brand and on your public image. So that's really the first step. And as Laura said, if you haven't listened to that episode, I definitely recommend it. We do a deep dive on all of those topics. But it's getting that external feedback, having time to kind of chew on it in your brain, and then seeing, okay, so what of our brand, again, not your logo, your brand, is representative of what we want to be doing and who we want to be serving and what we do as a company, and what is not serving us. Last episode, I talked about, if you bake wedding cakes and somebody wants chocolate chip cookies, yes, you could technically do it, but is that your brand? And is that something you even want to do? Like Laura said, you want to be having fun. If you don't like making cookies, don't make the cookies. Understanding what you should keep and what you should get rid of is understanding, does your brand in a larger sense speak to the fact that you only make wedding cakes and that's really what you're amazing at? And you want to work with, people getting married or, doing their vows again, or et cetera, et cetera. And that's like where you deep dive into it. And then you really don't want to be speaking to the people that want a dozen chocolate chip cookies.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like one thing that would be very useful would be creating a comprehensive list. This is usually aided with a marketing person that can help you with this internally, externally. We can help you, but make a list of the elements of your brand, and this would include your logo, but not be restricted or defined to just your logo. It would be what's on your business cards, what's on your website, how do you speak about it, what is your 30-second commercial when you meet someone at the bar at a networking event, like what is it about you that people understand, and list off everything, including some of the esoteric stuff that's hard to nail down, and then start to go through once you've gotten the awareness that we talked about last time, go through and actually make a list of, does this make the cut? Is this clear? Does this not make the cut? Is this not clear? And really, I think you've got three choices. You can replace it, revamp it, or create it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And you pretty much need to put these things in the bucket, and maybe you'd need to have another column or something on there for the things that haven't been created that would actually be integral. So if, for example, you're doing like hazardous waste disposal, what are your talking points and what do your employees say when they're out in the community representing you? What do you have talking points at all? That would go under create it if you don't have those. So then you have continuity, and you actually can create that brand where you are known for the correct thing.
I think you're making a really great point. Oftentimes it's incredibly overlooked, making sure that your employees at every level understand what the company does and what the brand is. A number of years ago, I was the head of marketing for a nonprofit, and we found out, or rather I found out, that every person on staff was talking about the company in very different ways, which was not their fault because nobody had walked them through it. But that means that every person they communicate with is getting a vastly different story about the point of the organization and what we did, who we served, etc. So we ended up doing a large professional development session where we walked through, here are the talking points. You can make them your own. You don't need to memorize them, but here are the key points you need to be saying when you're interviewed by the press, when you talk to donors, when you talk to prospective people that are going to join the nonprofit, when you interview prospective employees, et cetera, et cetera. Make them your own. But again, here are the key points that you need to be hitting. And honestly, most people were super excited for us to give them that kind of information because they felt that like they were grasping at straws to try to understand how to describe the whole organization, because most people only understand what they do and what their department does.
So this advice you just gave is really good. And if you don't think it applies to you because your company is too small, think again. This could also be something where it's just a company that is you, and it would apply to you. Most of our listeners and most of our customers have much larger businesses that have been around for like 10 years. There's a number of employees. Creating a brand guide just as one sheet of paper that says, these are the 5 things we offer, the 10 things that we offer. This is the person we help. This is why we help them. This is the mission. Something like that is like really important. So thinking about all that, it really kind of brings me to some of the things that you would put on there, like obviously like logo and whatever, but like visual identity is a bigger concept. Visual identity it includes your font choices, it includes your colors, your sizing, your aspect ratios. And while some of these things can appear like I'm really trying to like do needle in a haystack type of stuff, it actually matters. And when you set it up correctly, it can really help you to have a consistent brand. It makes it more recognizable. Last episode, we talked about Coca-Cola. Oh, you best believe they have a brand guide. You best believe they have one red, not any red. They have a specific red. It's a Pantone.
And I believe it's trademarked. They're red.
Yeah. So, it's really important to have that kind of consistency. Like, it makes my eye twitch when I see people being like, oh yeah, we've got really good branding. And then they present me with like this, I don't know, it looks like a watercolor experiment coming out of like a kindergarten class. It's like, no, you don't. You're not using the whole damn rainbow. What are your corporate colors? Red and green. Really? Which red? Which
Right.
green? How dark? How saturated? How opaque? Like, you need to know these things. So when you think about updating your brand and doing the inventory, which is the first part, you do need to understand the importance of your visual identity. You need to understand the importance of your voice and the narrative consistency. And Julia's point talked about the narrative consistency beautifully. So I have another company, and in that company, it's a startup, and we're doing things now to create that narrative consistency. And we do things at the very beginning of the company, like creating a brand guide, creating a color chart, creating a font, designation, and having these things, because, if we have employees using different fonts all over the place, we're not associated with any particular thing. And these are some of the subtleties that people do pick up on. Like, I could write the word, Christmas in the Coca-Cola font, and you would immediately recognize it.
Right.
You'd be like,
right,
that's the Coca-Cola font. Well,
and
brand
when
recognition.
Right. And when there's brand consistency across all your visual imagery, whether it's the website or your social media, even down to your email signature lines, all of those elements are being seen by external stakeholders. And when they see that it's a uniform brand and it's consistent, and when we say consistent, we're not saying matchy. We're not saying everything is identical. We're saying consistent. It's all within the same structure. It shows that you are well organized, you have a clear message, and that you have thought about these small details. And like we keep saying, this is what matters in order to help make more money. And oftentimes, this is what is overlooked because people don't think it's a big deal, but as a consumer, I can tell you, even if I wasn't in marketing, if I look at a company and I see kind of all over the place messaging and I don't understand what's happening and somebody's email signature line is really messy and doesn't make sense to me, it doesn't make me feel like I am safe with that company.
Mm. It's a level of polish and professionalism that people do expect out of you. And listen, this entire show is about helping you make more money. That's what the point of this show is. That's what the point of vision advertising is. That's the point of this episode. And if you're one of those folks that thinks that, the way people speak about your company internally, you don't need to micromanage it. You kind of do, actually. And it's not that you want to manage every single word. You need to give them the talking points, or they're going to make them up for you, and they won't make up things that are necessarily what you want. So give them the help. The visual identity, it matters. Font choices actually do matter. Choosing precise colors that are consistent across everything you do matters. Using the logo at a specific ratio matters. The narrative consistency matters. These things matter because when they're done well, what you do is you convey an image of polish, professionalism, and it says to the world that you've got your shit together. And when people understand this about you, they're more likely to pay you better rates. They're more likely to pay a premium for your product. They're more likely to tell their friends about you.
Mhm.
Nothing against the Hyundai automobile company, but I remember my first vehicle. It was a Hyundai Excel hatchback. That was one of those ones where you had to turn the radio off to get up the hill. It was not an awesome automobile, and quality was devoid of the entire experience. Now, I remember driving a beautiful Audi convertible many years later, and the details were attended to. There was wood burl inlay. There was, better equipment. I actually could keep the radio on and go up the hill. It was exhilarating. But the experience and the perception of the brand, I paid more for the Audi than I did for the Hyundai. Why? Because attention to detail was paid. And when you see more polished branding, you're more willing to pay for what you perceive to be an elite product. And you might not think that maybe your construction company or your landscaping company or your architecture firm is an elite product. Trust me, you want people to think so, because that's when you get people who pay you what you deserve and then some.
Agreed. And I also think it helps people understand the consistency you're going to offer. So I will go back to Coca-Cola as my example. When I have a Coca-Cola and it's a brand name Coca-Cola, I know what it's going to taste like. Before I take a sip, I know what it's going to taste like. I have an off-brand Coca-Cola, like Cola, whatever, that's the generic from Stop and
Walmart
Shop,
brand.
or right. Or like RC Cola or what, or Pepsi, right?
The
Which
fact
is
that you can name
definitely
any of these is thrilling to me.
no problem. That's what I'm here for. All the useless facts. They are not going to taste like what I want. And what I want is a Coca-Cola. And you don't know if it will be consistent time to time because it's not what you were looking for. It's like sort of what you were looking for, but not exactly what you were looking for.
So
But
you're
when I
talking
see,
about reliability and trust.
yes, absolutely.
Those are two really, really important things that you want to convey. And, before we wrap this up, think about who you want to be and how you want to be perceived. If you've been at your business for 25 years, you can still improve your brand. You can still gather and do a brand audit. You can still see how you're perceived. You can still make edits. You're not dead until you're dead. So it's never too late. And you can always make improvements. You can always refine. You can add, you can subtract. And the more you pay attention to the details, the more you show your customers that you pay attention to the details, the more you build that trust with people and the fact that they can rely on you for consistency. Honestly, you win. There's no downsides.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. We talked about modernizing brand identity, balancing past and future. We are super grateful that you're here. Once again, the show is sponsored and brought to you by Vision Advertising. We can help you with your brand. We can help you get really clear about which pieces to keep, which pieces to toss, what to revamp, and then we can actually help you execute all of it. So if you want some help with that, cool. If this was enough, also cool. You win either way. Thanks for giving us a listen. We will see you next time. And this is Julia. Say goodbye.
Hey, bye-bye.
And Laura, see you later.